There is a switch inside you that determines whether you wake up exhausted or refreshed. It governs the speed at which you age. For most people over the age of 50, this switch is turned off, and no one ever informed them of its existence. Inside every cell you own are tiny engines called mitochondria. They convert the food you eat and the air you breathe into the energy that powers your heart, your brain, and your body. Starting around age 45, they stop replacing themselves. These engines do not break. They simply stop multiplying. The old ones wear down, sputter, leak, and nothing new takes their place. This is why the afternoon wall hits harder every year, why sleep no longer restores you, and why the mirror reflects aging even when you do everything right. It is not your willpower failing, it is your cellular power failing. However, the blueprint to build new mitochondria is still inside every cell, intact and waiting. The factory line is shut down, not destroyed. One master signal restarts it. Science identifies that signal as PGC1 alpha. Activate it, and your cells begin building fresh engines within days. One signal leads to two results. The exhaustion lifts and the aging slows. Both operate on the same switch. The longevity industry sells you the expensive way back through infusions, clinics, and hourly capsules. Yet 5 of the 6 methods you are about to see cost nothing. They were practiced for thousands of years before anyone understood why they worked. Here are 6 methods, ranked from effective to extraordinary. Pay close attention to number 3. It triggers the sharpest response of all, and you can do it tonight for free. Number 1 is so new that most doctors haven't even read the trials. Tell me your age and where you are watching from in the comments. I read every one. The breath you are not taking. 10,000 years ago, yogis built a science around holding the breath called kumbhaka, the pause between worlds. They believed it kindled an inner fire, and they were closer to the truth than they knew. When you hold your breath to a mild air hunger, oxygen dips for a controlled moment. That dip trips a sensor inside the cell called HIF1 alpha. This is the same altitude response that gives mountain people their endurance. It signals the cell to sharpen its engines and build more. This is brief, deliberate scarcity, a message that the body must adapt or fall behind. The practice: sit and exhale fully. Hold until you feel the first clear urge to breathe. Do not strain, just wait for the urge. Release and breathe normally for 30 seconds. Perform 5 rounds for 2 minutes, once a day. This is the ancient, silent, and free on-ramp. Deliberate heat. Every old culture maintained a heat ritual, such as the Finnish sauna, the sweat lodge, or the Roman caldarium. They never knew the mechanism. They only knew people emerged stronger. Heating the body past comfort produces heat shock proteins. These are molecular repair crews that refold damaged proteins and shield the mitochondria from collapse. In a 20-year study of Finnish men, those who took a sauna 4 to 7 times a week cut their risk of dying from heart disease far below the once-a-week group. Heat, applied on purpose, is a stress that forces the cell to rebuild stronger. The practice: use a sauna, hot bath, or steam for 15 to 20 minutes until the sweat runs freely, 3 to 4 times a week. If you have a heart condition, clear this with your doctor first. Heat tells the engine room one word: reinforce. The empty window. Every tradition that ever sought clarity fasted to find it, calling it purification. The cell calls it mitophagy, the controlled demolition of broken mitochondria so new ones have room to rise. Stop eating for a long enough stretch, and an enzyme called AMPK switches on. AMPK is your fuel gauge reading empty. On empty, it does 2 things at once. It triggers the clearing of worn-out engines and signals PGC1 alpha to build their replacements. The 2016 Nobel Prize was awarded for uncovering this self-cleaning machinery. You carry it in every cell. The practice: close your eating window, finish dinner, then leave 14 to 16 hours before your next meal. Consume only water, black coffee, or plain tea. Anything with calories shuts the signal off. Most of that window is sleep, where old engines are cleared and new ones are built in the dark hours while you do nothing at all. The cold that wakes the dead. This is the one to watch. Of all six, cold triggers the sharpest, fastest response, and it costs nothing but nerve. When cold hits the skin, the body floods with norepinephrine. One study measured a surge of over 500% from a single cold immersion. That chemical mobilizes energy and activates brown fat, a tissue packed so densely with mitochondria that its only purpose is to burn fuel and make heat. Repeated cold orders the body to build more of it. You are not merely enduring the cold, you are commanding your cells to multiply their engines. The practice: end your shower cold for 30 seconds on the first day. Build toward 2 to 3 minutes across 2 weeks. The water should be cold enough that you want to get out. That urge is the signal firing. Breathe slow and steady, and never hold your breath under cold water. This is the switch in its rawest form, waiting in your bathroom tonight. Rhythmic effort. For most of human history, the body moved for hours a day by walking, carrying, and climbing. That sustained rhythmic effort is the single most powerful trigger of mitochondrial building. Nothing on this list beats it. When you move with effort long enough that the breath deepens and stays there, the muscle screams a chemical demand for more energy. PGC1 alpha answers. New mitochondria are built straight inside the working tissue, and not only in muscle. The signal reaches the brain, where fresh mitochondria sharpen memory and lift the fog. The practice: no gym is required. Engage in brisk movement where you can speak, but not sing for 30 to 40 minutes most days. Or perform short bursts like a steep hill or a climb of stairs hard enough to leave you breathing deep. The intensity speaks to the cell, not the duration. This is the loudest message you can send the engine room, the molecule almost no one is talking about. The pomegranate was the symbol of renewal in nearly every ancient culture, carved into temples and buried with kings. The ancients chose it on instinct, and modern science just found out why. Inside pomegranates, walnuts, and certain berries sits a compound your gut bacteria convert into something rare: urolithin A. Urolithin A does what nothing else on this list does directly. It hunts down your most damaged engines and clears them while signaling fresh ones to take their place. In a human trial, middle-aged and older adults who took it showed measurable gains in muscle endurance against a placebo. This is the closest science has come to a clean switch for cellular renewal. The catch is that only about 1 in 3 people carry the gut bacteria to make urolithin A from food alone. For everyone else, it now exists as a studied compound. The practice: eat pomegranates, walnuts, and raspberries on repeat, or use the compound itself. This discovery will be everywhere in 2 years. Now, understand what you hold. These 6 are not separate tricks. They are 6 doors into 1 room. They are the same switch approached from 6 directions. Stack them and they compound. Cold in the morning, movement by afternoon, and a closed eating window by night. Each one is a message, all saying the same word: build. Here is what unfolds. In the first days, the cleanup begins, and broken engines clear. Within a week or 2, the first new mitochondria come online, and the afternoon wall starts to soften. By 30 to 60 days, the density has climbed. That is the moment the exhaustion that defined your last decade simply isn't there. It is not masked. It is gone at the source. The engines were never dead. They were idling, waiting for the one signal you were never told existed. Now you have it. Start with one tonight, the cold shower or the closed window, whichever you will actually do. The switch only answers to action. If this story has changed the way you look at the energy within your own body, please subscribe and like this channel. We are uncovering the biological history and future potential that they have tried to keep hidden. Start building your engine today. The next treasure of knowledge will be revealed soon.